Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more detailed videos. Bronwyn Newport has never been shy about opening up to the people who follow her journey, but in recent times her willingness to share such intimate details about the challenges she has faced has resonated on a different level. When she chose to speak candidly about the difficult year she experienced, she did not focus solely on the hardship or the emotional weight of the struggles. Instead, she highlighted the person who consistently provided support when things felt impossible, Todd. Her description of how Todd stepped up financially during one of the toughest chapters in her life reveals not only the depth of their relationship, but also the reality of what it means to have a partner who chooses action over words. For many, the phrase stepping up may sound like a cliché, but when Bronwyn used it, she infused it with a sincerity that can only come from lived experience. The challenges she faced were not vague inconveniences. They were real setbacks, and like so many individuals navigating both personal and professional hurdles, she admitted that finances often weighed heavily on her mind. She described moments when bills piled up faster than she could manage, when opportunities were delayed or canceled, and when it seemed like every plan she made was met with another obstacle. It was during those exact periods that Todd chose not to distance himself or downplay the stress, but instead positioned himself as the one who would help shoulder the burden. Bronwyn revealed how his willingness to contribute financially wasn't framed as a grand gesture or a favor that she would later owe him, for it was an act of partnership, grounded in his recognition of what she needed most at the time. She noted how easy it can be for partners to offer verbal encouragement without ever translating those words into meaningful action. Support is more than telling someone, "You'll be fine," or repeating optimistic phrases. In her own words, Bronwyn explained how Todd didn't wait for her to ask repeatedly or justify why she was struggling. He anticipated her stress, recognized the silent battles she was fighting, and made the decision to contribute in a way that lightened her load. This kind of support is not glamorous, and it often goes uncelebrated, but it is the type of action that sustains someone through a storm. By stepping in financially, Todd was essentially telling her without words that her well-being was more important than his comfort, that he trusted her to get through the challenges, and that she didn't have to face them alone. Bronwyn's revelation was not shared in the tone of someone bragging about what her partner did for her. Instead, it was the heartfelt testimony of someone who had learned how rare and invaluable it is to have a partner who recognizes the importance of stability during uncertain times. She made it clear that finances were never the measure of love in their relationship, but in the midst of an especially rough year, it was precisely that form of support that allowed her to breathe again. Imagine the weight of wondering how to pay for daily expenses, the emotional exhaustion of trying to keep appearances while knowing that behind the scenes things are crumbling, and then picture the relief of realizing that someone you trust is stepping in quietly to make sure you do not collapse. That was the essence of her story. Todd was not rescuing her. He was standing beside her when she needed strength the most. What makes this revelation even more powerful is the way Bronwyn spoke about the emotional ripple effect it had on her. She explained how, once the immediate stress of financial worries began to lift, she could focus again on her goals, her creative pursuits, and the parts of herself that had been overshadowed by worry. It wasn't simply about paying bills or keeping the lights on. It was about restoring her sense of safety, of dignity, and of space to think clearly. She expressed how Todd's willingness to step in financially was intertwined with his ability to give her back her confidence. That is the part of the story that resonated so strongly with listeners. When one partner chooses to act selflessly, the other gains back more than money. They regain a part of themselves. Bronwyn shared examples of moments when she realized just how much Todd's actions meant. There were days when she felt too embarrassed to admit how close she was to giving up on certain projects because she could not afford to keep going. Todd never shamed her for feeling overwhelmed, nor did he treat his contributions as though he was doing her a favor that came with strings attached. Instead, he reminded her in small but meaningful ways that they were a team. When she hesitated to continue pursuing an opportunity because of the cost, he reminded her of her talent and quietly ensured that the financial side would not stand in her way. In doing so, he helped her push past hesitation and reclaim her drive. Bronwyn described those instances with a mixture of gratitude and awe, clearly touched by the realization that she was not expected to carry everything on her own. Another point she emphasized was how Todd's support contrasted with the behavior she had experienced from others in the past. She remembered moments when people would talk about standing by her, but disappeared when the struggles became too heavy. In comparison, Todd's actions were not performative or conditional. He wasn't stepping up because it looked good or because it would earn him praise. He was stepping up because he recognized what real partnership requires. It was this authenticity that moved her so deeply. She wanted people to understand that genuine support often goes unnoticed because it doesn't arrive with grand declarations. Sometimes, it is the quiet choice to take on someone else's burden without fanfare that makes the biggest difference. Bronwyn reflected on how this period strengthened her appreciation for Todd. She admitted that when people imagine a relationship enduring difficult times, they often assume love alone is enough. But in reality, love must be paired with action, patience, and sometimes sacrifice. She expressed her awareness that financial support can be a sensitive subject in relationships, yet she emphasized that in her case, it was not about dependency but about teamwork. Todd never made her feel like she was asking for too much or like she was failing by needing help. Instead, his perspective reframed the situation. If one of them was struggling, both of them were affected, and therefore both of them needed to contribute to finding stability again. That outlook transformed what could have been a source of shame into a reminder that they were stronger together. One of the striking things about Bronwyn's story is how relatable it is to so many people who have experienced rough patches in their own lives. Whether it is due to unexpected job loss, medical expenses, or setbacks that appear out of nowhere, the feeling of being financially overwhelmed can be suffocating. Her openness about how Todd's support carried her through highlights the importance of having someone who doesn't just tell you they care but shows it in tangible ways. She wanted her audience to see that behind every smile she shared online, there were real struggles being carried, and she hoped that by speaking about Todd's actions, others would be inspired to value the people in their lives who quietly hold them up when everything feels heavy. She further explained that his support didn't only apply to big expenses. Sometimes it was as simple as covering daily necessities without making it a point of discussion. There were times when she admitted feeling guilty that he was spending more than she was able to contribute, but Todd reassured her that these were temporary measures, not permanent imbalances. By reframing it as an investment in their shared future rather than a handout, he took away the sting of embarrassment that could have come with accepting help. Bronwyn described how liberating it was to know that she didn't have to apologize for struggling, and she didn't have to constantly prove her worth in financial terms. Todd already saw her worth, and his actions reflected that belief. The emotional depth of Bronwyn's testimony lies in her acknowledgement that Todd's actions went beyond solving immediate problems. His support symbolized a deeper level of trust and partnership. She compared it to the foundation of a house. When the foundation is strong, the storms may shake the walls, but the structure still stands. Todd was her foundation during that rough year, providing stability when everything else seemed uncertain. She stressed that this kind of support should not be taken for granted, and that recognizing and appreciating it was just as important as receiving it. Bronwyn admitted that opening up about this part of her life was not easy. Talking about financial struggles can often invite judgment, yet she chose to share because she wanted to shine a light on what genuine support looks like. Too often, people glamorize relationships by focusing only on the highs, the vacations, the gifts, the smiles captured in photos. She wanted to remind people that the true test of a relationship is found in how partners show up when things are messy, difficult, and far from glamorous. For her, Todd's decision to step up financially was proof that he was committed not only to sharing the good times, but also to carrying the weight of the hard times. Her audience responded with overwhelming empathy and admiration, and many commented on how refreshing it was to hear someone be so open about the realities of partnership. Some shared their own stories of how loved ones had supported them during financial struggles, while others admitted that they had not experienced that kind of support and realized how much they longed for it. Bronwyn's willingness to be vulnerable sparked conversations that extended beyond her personal story, reminding people that genuine care is measured by presence, consistency, and sacrifice, not just by words or surface-level gestures. The message Bronwyn carried through her story was clear. A rough year can reveal the true character of those around you. Todd's actions revealed that his commitment was more than emotional, it was practical, consistent, and grounded in love expressed through action. For her, that made all the difference. The struggles she faced were undeniably difficult, but the way he chose to step up financially transformed what could have been an unbearable weight into a shared challenge that they overcame together. Her revelation leaves a lasting impression because it cuts through the illusions people often hold about relationships. It highlights that love in its truest form is not just about passion or romance, but about sacrifice, responsibility, and the willingness to act when your partner needs you most. Todd's financial support during Bronwyn's rough year stands as an example of that principle. It is a reminder that stepping up for someone doesn't always look glamorous, but it is often the most meaningful expression of care. Come back to our channel for all your updates. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.